There is a rule that turns up in cold climate survival training, in Arctic expedition accounts, and in the oral knowledge of northern peoples who have lived through winters that would kill you. Do not eat the snow. Which sounds insane. You are surrounded by frozen water, you are thirsty, and the rule says do not put it in your mouth. And it points at something else. In an Ice Age camp, there was a job that somebody had to do every single night, all winter, that nobody talks about. And if that person failed at it, the whole group was in serious trouble within about 3 days. I will tell you exactly what the job was, but it will not land until you understand why a landscape made entirely of water is a landscape with nothing to drink. Start with the arithmetic, because that is really all this is. Snow is mostly air. Depending on how it fell, you need somewhere between 10 and 12 buckets of it to get 1 bucket of water. So to drink a normal day's worth, you are not eating a handful, you are eating an enormous volume of it. But volume is not the real problem. Ice takes a surprising amount of energy to become water, not to warm up, to change from solid to liquid at the same temperature. Physicists call it latent heat, and it is a much bigger number than people expect. Melting snow in your mouth means paying that cost out of your own body. Your core temperature is the only furnace available, and you are spending it to make a small amount of very cold water that then has to be warmed up again once it is inside you. So you are colder, and you are barely less thirsty. Do it enough in genuine cold, and you are not solving dehydration, you are accelerating the thing that actually kills people out there. The obvious move is to just not drink much and wait for spring. That does not work either, and cold is the reason. Cold air is dry air. Every breath you take in winter comes in nearly moisture-free and goes out saturated. So you lose water constantly just by breathing, and you lose more of it the harder you are working. Then there is a stranger one. When you get cold, your body pulls blood in from your arms and legs toward your core to protect the organs that matter. Your kidneys read that as too much fluid in the system and start dumping it. Researchers call it cold diuresis. You go to the bathroom more in the cold, and you were not drinking anything to begin with. So a person working outdoors in a hard winter is losing water faster than in mild weather, feels far less thirsty because the cold suppresses the signal, and is surrounded by a substance that costs them body heat to use. That is not an inconvenience. That is a problem you have to solve every day or you die of it. The answer is fire, and it is less obvious than it sounds. You cannot simply put snow in a container over a flame. Dry snow against a hot surface scorches and the container burns before the snow melts. You have to start with a little liquid water in the bottom and add snow to that, slowly, letting the water do the melting. Which means you can never run the container completely dry. There has to be some water left at the end of every batch, or the next batch is much harder to start. That single detail changes everything about how a winter camp works. Which brings me to the job. Somebody had to stay awake and keep the fire alive. Not for warmth. The shelter and the bodies inside it handled most of that. For the water. If the fire went out overnight, the pot froze. If the pot froze, there was no liquid water to start the next melt with, and in some conditions the container itself cracked. A group that lost its fire in deep winter did not just wake up cold. It woke up with no way to drink. So the job existed. Somebody sat up in the dark, in the coldest hours, feeding a fire, while everybody they cared about slept. And they did it every night, all winter, for as long as there have been people living where it snows. It is the least glamorous job in the whole of human prehistory. No skill, no status, no story worth telling afterward. Just staying awake so that a small pot of water did not turn back into ice. Now, I want to be careful here. The physics is not in dispute, and neither is the ethnographic record of melting snow over fire. What we cannot do is reach back 40,000 years and watch a specific person take a specific shift. This is inference from what the cold demands and from how northern peoples in recorded history actually did it. It is a strong inference. It is still an inference. So here is what I keep coming back to. We tell the story of surviving winter as hunting and shelter and fire for warmth. Big dramatic problems with big dramatic solutions. And underneath all of it, there is a person sitting up at 3 in the morning watching a pot. That is what survival mostly was, not heroics. Somebody doing a boring, thankless, absolutely essential thing over and over while everybody else slept through it. And if that feels familiar, it should. Most of what holds a household together now is the same shape. Invisible, repetitive, noticed only when it stops. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are just ancient. Who does the invisible job in your house? Tell me in the comments. And if this changed how you think about that, hit like and subscribe for more of the ancient reasons behind your modern life.